coming to you from On the Road. We've got the Brand Viva Studios and Start With a Win podcast secret location today. We have in the studio here, off camera, producer Mark. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing so good over here.
Awesome. And I'm really honored to be part of this show. I've been podcasting for several years now and had you once before on the podcast, but this is always truly an honor to sit down and talk about amazing leadership concepts in business and things like that with our guest today, the co-founder of RE/MAX, coming up on 50 years of running the company, Mr. Dave Liniger. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good.
Awesome. So I just want to start with, what does leadership mean to you? I mean, that's a word that everybody throws around. What is leadership in the mind of Dave Liniger?
A lot of leaders are arrogant, and every other word out of their mouth is, I did this, I did this, I did this. That's absolute nonsense. You look at the success of RE/MAX, it's we. One individual, two individuals did not make this company happen. It was dozens of regional owners and then hundreds of broker owners and tens of thousands of sales associates. Building this unbelievable empire we have was a team effort on the part of everybody.
Where does leading a company come from, and what does leading a company mean? How do you start that venture when you get into business?
Well, all of your life is an adventure, and all of your life can be a learning experience. Some people will go to college and they get book learning, and then they can try to implement it in person. Other people don't necessarily have that advantage, but somewhere along the line, they figure it out, usually after making a lot of mistakes. And when we started RE/MAX, I made so many mistakes, it was pathetic. But I did some things right too.
Oh yeah, absolutely you did. And those stories are truly amazing. But the interesting thing is, and I'd like for you to dig a little deeper into this. You made mistakes, but you didn't let the mistakes make you. I mean, maybe you did, but you learned from them. I mean, that seems to be one of those things that the ego prevents. A lot of people, when they make a mistake, they either hide from it or they make excuses about it, something like that. I've never known you to be a person like that. You own your mistakes. What does that mean to leadership?
Well, I think a leader has to be transparent to the team. And if you make a mistake, you're better off to face up to it and say, I'm sorry, and I'm going to learn from it and not do it again. We're human beings. We make mistakes. It's okay. Just don't make the same one over and over and over again. And move on with your life. We got goals out there. We got places to go. There's things that RE/MAX hasn't even thought of yet that will be implemented in the next 5 years that will help all of us. So we just move forward.
I love it. And that reminds me of a story I heard. Coach K, who just retired as the coach of Duke basketball, most winning coach in men's basketball history, had a saying, and that was next play, where people would come to the bench after a mistake or a bad play, and he would look at them and say, next play, and they would move on and put that. They would learn from it, of course, and they went back and reviewed it, but they moved on to the next one and put their effort into that. And he created this amazing leadership environment around that, just like you do. So I want to move on to that term environment. I hear you use that term a lot. What is environment and leadership? What do those have to do with each other?
Well, let's talk about environment. I think one of the major functions of a great leader is to create an environment where the individuals on the team can collectively succeed better than by themselves and also achieve their personal goals in addition to the team goals. What you want to do is create an environment where people who are self-motivated can achieve what they want to achieve. Dale Carnegie said, how to win friends and influence people. That's over 100 years ago, by the way. And he said, there's two things people can't give themselves: personal attention and appreciation. No matter how wealthy you are, you can buy a nice car, But that isn't it. That isn't another human being saying, I appreciate you. I love you. You're my best friend. Those things are what makes the human psyche say, I'm worthwhile. He believes in me.
Huh. And so why is that? Why do we lack that so much in leadership? Because you don't see, all leaders want to be stoic and they want to sit in the corner of the room and not be, enthusiastic and interactive and things like that. Why don't we see more of that? Is there a particular reason why leaders don't demonstrate that trait more? Or maybe I'm missing it. I don't know.
I think maybe they don't know it's part of the job. Nobody has sat down and said, you're leading. You lead through example, but you also lead by heaping praise on people. Obviously, the usual statement, criticize in private, praise in public. Some people are awkward getting the praise in public, and they just don't feel good about it. 99% of the people love it.
Well, and you've shown that you built Remax around major conventions and award ceremonies, and we have, just some spectacular, huge stages where people walk across and have their moment and receive an award and things like that. It's been a big part of the culture that you've created is to celebrate those wins. And it's fascinating because you have people come up to you afterwards. And I learned this over many years in the company, and they go, Dave gave me this award in this date. And I said, I'm going to get the next higher one the next year and the next higher one the next year. And it stair-stepped their success. It's fascinating what you've done with so many of them.
We have the best agents in the world, and it's easy to work with them.
What are your thoughts on being a leader versus just having the job thinking you're a leader? Or, is it dependent upon age, and what are the variables in that?
Experience certainly plays a part in building your confidence, and experience will teach you the do's and don'ts. In my case, I had 3 years experience selling real estate, and I was very good at it. And so my feeling was, as the leader of the company, my job was to recruit, retain, and train. And that's what my skill level was. Well, obviously, in a 49-year period of time, I had to become a manager and not just those 3 positions.
Moving from leading in the position to leading an organization, you have an interesting perspective on, and I hear this question a lot, and maybe you can shed some light on how to look at this. But I've heard a lot of people say, we're a family or we're a team. Is this a binary situation where you're one or the other? Give me your perspective on family versus team here.
If you look at let's say a sports team, you can have team accomplishments with family values.
Oh.
So, for instance, if one of the players' wife comes down with breast cancer, all the other players' wives are into it, and they're trying to help, and they're going to do some cooking, and they're going to help with the driving and all that stuff because the husband's, off playing a game someplace. And so those are family values. Most people have them. But with a team, it's up to the leader. You have to lead the team with strength.
So team performance with family values.
Correct.
I like that. I haven't heard that before today. It's really a cool way of looking at it because, we're a values-led organization at Remax, yet we have super high-performing agents. So just the perspective, team performance, family values. Thank you for sharing that.
All right, we're going to pause the conversation right there. This has just been amazing. It's been gold. But we've reached the end of our episode. So make sure that you subscribe so you get notified next week when part 2 comes out of our interview with Dave Liniger. We'll see you next time.